Hello, my name is Debbie Reynolds. They call me the Data Diva. Today I want to talk about data privacy and biometric psychography. So that's a mouthful. So, biometric psychography is the information that is gleaned about someone's psychological state or states based on biometric information that's captured. So this is something that's going to be a hot issue in kind of IoT and also kind of the metaverse, basically, in terms of devices being able to capture data or information about people that was never captured before. So it was someone, for example, is in a virtual reality situation or even an augmented reality situation. They may be wearing devices or there may be around devices that can record information about their physiology. So, like, for example, these goggles, glasses, sensors can track things like people's eye movements, their pupil response, individual involuntary micro expressions. So things that maybe someone who's looking at you may not be able to tell. Maybe a device or something can record that information in very great detail about an individual. Also, sort of skin and muscle responses based on kind of people's movements and the things that they're doing, skin tension, blood pressure, pulse rate, all those things can be recorded by devices that people are using, whether, again, there be goggles, whether they be sensors that are, around individuals. All that information can be used to glean in some way someone's psychological state, whether it be true or not. So this is somewhat akin to kind of emotional AI in some way, except that the physiological things that are going on with a person as a result of stimuli that they're receiving somewhere from kind of a digital source is something that has never been recorded before in this way, except outside of medical settings. So, for example, if someone were to do a medical test, some of these things may be tracked, but now we're seeing applications of, internet connected devices that can collect, or many different sensors talking together, for example, communicating with one another, gathering information about someone. So biometric psychography is a term that you'll probably hear more often in the future, especially as we see a rise in kind of IoT devices that are tracking information about individuals, especially those devices that people wear, whether they be like a wristband or some other type of sensor on their body or something that their eyes are looking at, or even headgear. So just even the movement of someone's head can tell information about someone's, you know, presumably their health, right, or even their mental state. So I think we're going to start to see more companies veer into areas related to figuring out emotions of people, even though I'm not a fan of this, based on their biometric responses to stimuli that is digital, that is in their surroundings. So it remains to be seen what's going to happen. I'm really interested to see how this information is going to be used. Obviously, there's a concern about this information being used kind of in a negative sense against a person. For example, maybe a device can tell or infer information about someone's health or well-being, or their reaction, for example, to certain stimulus that may not bode well for maybe future prospects and different things that they're doing. So this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. This is not just about gaming. We're seeing virtual reality, XR, VR, augmented reality devices in education, in medical situations, Also entertainment, obviously, but I think that these applications will be sort of broad and far-reaching, and so we just don't know the implications of this type of data being out in sort of in a consumer space, knowing that consumer protections for this type of data is very low. That's it. Thank you.